Hey, how's it going, guys? It's your boy. I'm gonna do a two-parter this time because I don't really get involved in internet drama, but what happens is sometimes internet drama inspires me to have thoughts because currently we all know the internet's favorite clown by the name of Sneeko, who honestly I can't stand and I think is counterproductive to the male species. Literally, this guy is super insufferable, and he talks about like escaping the matrix, like I talked about. He's basically just an Andrew Tate clone, trying to be just like Andrew Tate, and it's actually kind of cringe how hard he's trying. And then he realizes all of his fans are kind of just kids. I even saw that part. But this guy does not understand the repercussions of it's not what you say, it's how you say it, and he just blurts things out and is very irresponsible with when he opens his mouth. But he chose to rag on jiu-jitsu, and he ended up rattling the cage of a jiu-jitsu champion. Now, obviously, Mikey, the jiu-jitsu champion, ended up calling him out and said, you want to do an MMA fight if you like striking so much more than jiu-jitsu? And then he backtracked and said, well, you're a world champion. The thing is, though, is like you basically just disrespected a world champion and put it out there on the open. And then as soon as they answered the call, you backed out and you didn't want to step in because then there goes your quote unquote alpha male persona. And that's like the thing is I don't got a problem with people who are alpha males or anything like that. But when it's like this and you rattle a cage and you can't confront the guy and you just want to like weasel out of it by pointing the finger back at him saying you're a world champion, quote unquote. Look, if you mess with the world champion's going to mess with you back. Just don't pick on world champions and expect just for them to roll over. But I am Team Mikey, obviously, and it's not just because I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. In fact, honestly, I feel like I have a very big balance of what is realistic about jiu-jitsu and what isn't, and what you should practice in the dojo and what you can take to the streets if you're ever in the situation. Even though I think, look, avoiding a situation like that overall is best. You don't have to worry about legal trouble. You don't have to worry about getting hurt. You don't have to worry about hurting anybody because everyone wants to fight until they realize just how slippery of a slope that is. That's why all those people barking about when the world falls into anarchy are in for a big shock, in my opinion. Because even though, like, I really do believe that even if you're going to do jiu-jitsu, it's a great opener to other martial arts. But I'm going to go over the pros of jiu-jitsu culture because there is a huge debate on the internet, and this is first of two parts. The second part, I'm going to go over the cons of it. There's like a huge debate over the internet over is jiu-jitsu fake or how real is it, or should we learn it or should we not? My thing is yes, but you got to be realistic about what they're teaching you, and you have to understand what translates good to what different areas. Kind of like when you're taking an exam for one class in your semester at school, how well does this translate to the next semester? You know, so it's like the one thing about learning skills is skills kind of bleed into one another. Because I have background in boxing, Muay Thai, other martial arts like that, wrestling. But jiu-jitsu is just my favorite just because it's the safest one to practice on your day-to-day life. And then it's also the safest one to obviously compete in because getting struck in the head multiple times does cause brain damage, and I need to think. But back to the pros. Because I think jiu-jitsu overall has taught me how to learn something and how to grow with something and how to take your time and work and make friends along the way as you build yourself up. Meaning, I remember when I first, before I started jiu-jitsu, I really didn't have a goal, mainly because a lot of people don't know what it's like to have a goal or to have something to strive for or to have something going on in their everyday life where they have a grind or a mindset or something to get to. And ever since then, I've learned a lot of different trades. I've learned how to work with different materials. I like working with my hands. And then I've learned how to work with computers. I learned how to code. It was always just something where I had something on my list of things to do, where I always just wanted to build a skill, all because when you learn how to build a skill on something like jiu-jitsu, where you're in self-defense and you're actually throwing yourself in and your physical and mental abilities are tested, it's very easy to build confidence. And even though you're not a master at something, you will eventually become a master sooner or later if you just put in the time or put in the work or put in the effort. And in some schools, there's a lot of solid mentorship, a lot of solid teammates. There's a good way to meet friends, a lot of ways to network. And then also you might get invited to the guys who also do Muay Thai or boxing, which I also really highly recommend, because I'm not saying jiu-jitsu is the supremest of the martial arts. I think that it's got its strengths and then it's got its places where it falls short. I don't think that you should be pulling guard on the pavement and falling back on your head or even trying to be on the ground in a street altercation, because there's a difference between the pavement and the mat, like, for sure. I know that doesn't have to be said, but, you should probably just stay out of those situations. But I think one of the most useful things that I've come to terms, if you're able to take jiu-jitsu with a realistic perspective, and one of the more positive things is that it does toughen you up. Now, here's the thing. If Sneeko, going back to this clown again, was going to challenge Mikey to even a boxing match, I really think Mikey would piece him up. And you know why that is because Mikey is a jiu-jitsu champion, which requires a lot of physical talent, because nothing really trumps anything like toughness. I know that's a lot of people are going to be disheartened to say that. That's just my opinion. But if you watch fights like Khamzat Chimaev versus Li Jinjiang, where he just lifts this black belt up because he's so tough, like a baby, and then finishes him in the first round, I really think that it speaks for itself, that how tough you are and how strong you are depends not just on your success in lifting weights, but in jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, because I've seen videos of Mikey hitting pads. He is a very good, and I think he would qualify as a black belt in Muay Thai. Do I think that MMA is his sport? I don't know. How is he going to transition to that? Is he going to compete in Muay Thai at all? I really don't know. But if he go in jiu-jitsu, that tends to be his bread and butter, where he's super good and super dangerous. But if you put him against your average person who even trains a lot in Muay Thai, I'm pretty sure it would be a very interesting scenario to see him piece these guys up, because he's just physically gifted, he's athletic, and he's just naturally a specimen. So yeah, any average fighter, right, is going to fall short against a guy who's a world champion in at least one of these martial arts. Like, if you think that jiu-jitsu in an MMA fight against Mike Tyson, like a young Mike Tyson, is going to work, I mean, that depends, because one, that jiu-jitsu guy better be Mike Tyson's size and strength and be able to take him down before someone like a young Mike Tyson would be able to clip him. Because one of the things is, though, that realistically, though, is that it does put a realistic sense where you know your capabilities as a human being. It doesn't matter what martial art you practice. Once you start doing these things, you will realize where you actually stand, and you should realize when you should try and diffuse a situation, when you should not, because you're going to realize that you're not this action hero that you thought you were. And I think that's absolutely a pro. I know it hurts your ego, but here's the thing is, when you are thinking that you're better than you are, you're going to walk yourself, or write a check that you can't cash, walk yourself into a situation that you cannot handle. It's a really useful tool to actually know where you stand. And in anything, whether it's fighting, self-defense, computers, working with your hands, going to school, you got to honestly know where you stand. But those are the pros of jiu-jitsu. I'm going to make a second video where I talk about the cons in the next one. So thank you guys very much for watching this first one. I'll see you on the other side.